Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey everybody, I want to welcome you. What a great show we have. And I want to introduce you right now to, I know I've done this before, Gina Gayle Gray, but I want to introduce you to Weird, Real Life Stories. This is her new show, which is kind of new, but it's a hit topic. And you're going to hear today about this journey, but you're going to hear stories. And some of the stories you may think, huh, and others you may think, oh, that happened to me. But whatever you hear today, I hope you're inspired because part of this journey with Gina Gayle takes you to a place where you understand something that a mom should not have to go through, the loss of beautiful, beautiful son, who's not really lost. And when you get to hear the stories today, and she and I were just talking, one of the things that gets easier to do is one word, believe. Gina Gayle, right? This is a crazy, cool, great show. Weird, real life stories. From where you sit, let's talk about it. You know, here we are. I love it. I get excited about it. You're launching this show, Weird, Real Life Stories. But I need to know, something must have grabbed onto you to say, I got to get out there and I have got to come out and talk about this.
Absolutely.
What was it? Yeah.
Absolutely. The time is now. I mean, look at how weird the world is that we're living in, but it's not a fun kind of weird. It's this thing being created that is so far from the good kind of weird, which are mystical experiences that many of us have been having since the beginning of time. And when people share those stories or have those experiences, what often happens is they're shut down, they're ridiculed, they're not believed. They're told it's a sin. They're told that can't possibly be true. And all of that is false. So I've had my own experiences and I want to share many of those because the time is now to do that. And more importantly, I want to invite others. I want to hear everybody else's weird real life stories. And I'm talking about these experiences that are really weird that no one can explain. So when they try to explain it, like orbs in pictures, and when people try to explain it away, because that's people just don't have the capacity to know. It's not seeing is believing, it's believing is seeing. When you switch that flip that switch, yeah, it all opens up, right?
It does. Yeah, I remember I was over at Linda's mom's house there in New Jersey, and we have great acreage over there. And I go over there one day, and I'm like, Joan says, "Did you see the backyard?" And I said, "No." And she said, "You got to look at the backyard." It was a perfect circle. Perfect. No grass. Grass wasn't cut. No burn marks. A complete circle. I walked it. It was almost defined to the centimeter, equidistance around. And I thought, she's not going to believe it. You know what she said to me? She said, you know, stranger things have happened to me in my life, but that one I'm going to remember forever.
So what's your explanation for that? What made that perfect circle in the backyard?
So what I said to her, Joan, there are some things in the world you just don't know what you don't know about. But are you open?
Yeah.
To the experience of being with that? And she said, you have no, Joan, Yeah, Linda's mom. She's right. She said, why do you think this is the way she said, why do you think I called you over here? I'm not the one that doesn't believe. I wanted you to see it to tell my husband.
Huh.
And she said, whatever it is, it must have been perfect. And I never forgot that line.
Oh, I love
And
that.
I love that. Whatever it was, it must have been perfect.
Yeah, wow. See, that's another level. And that's what it's time to open up to that other level and to realize it's not scary. It's not dark. It's not wrong. It's not illegal. It's accessible. But having a guide is a good idea. And sharing
Yeah.
these stories and sharing the information, creating that safe space for this sacred storytelling. We know about the sacred storytelling of indigenous populations, the entire world, always. That's the true history. When
Mm,
you can tap into those and find your way to that information, and if you're lucky enough to be in a family where it was passed down, and you know it's authentic, it's so much better than the
yeah.
printed history books
Oh
that
my
that
gosh.
that tell. Those are stories. We don't need to hear those stories anymore.
No.
We need to hear everybody's real
Yeah.
stories.
How many people have walked up to you or talked to you and you work with people all over the world? So, your own story is beautiful. As Joan would say, perfect. And how many people, you're not going to believe this. And then they always say, but.
Oh my gosh, I've lost count. I've lost count, especially in the past 7 years, because Spencer dropped
Mm,
his body. My son Spencer left his physical existence 7 years ago.
mm,
So it's been 7 years of intense training. And that was on top of 23 years with him in body in some intense training as well, because he was a nonverbal communicator. And the way that he spoke was in another way, without words, which is really powerful. Animals do it, angels do it, your whatever you call your God, your guides, spirits on the other side. All of that communication is without words, right? So he spent 23 years without speaking words, and then his last 7 years of life, he couldn't even make a sound.
mm,
So during those 7 years, my telepathic training, I was given a really intense training in telepathy.
mm-hmm,
So all of his needs were met. He was full of joy. He was very demanding. He did not have any of the autistic characteristics. He was a unique individual in his inability to speak. So I just want to clarify that, because that the ones with autism, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother
yeah,
realm where those souls are from and connected to. So that's lots of fascination about that as well. But yeah, just being able to communicate is very important. Everybody has the ability, but not everybody has the know-how.
yeah. I mean, I don't know about you. I've been called weird all my life. I mean, it didn't matter if I was a corporate executive. They got better as I got to be like an executive because they didn't say the word weird. They just say you're on another planet. Okay. But here we are in this world, and I love what you opened up with. There's so much going on.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter where you live or what you're doing or how you go about it. There isn't a day that goes by where you look at something and say, what? Like that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And that whole thing it's like a cartoon. It's if at this point, if you're still addicted to the talking heads who are
oh
reading
no.
scripts, whether it's on a big screen or a little screen, there's something much more fascinating. It's time to tune into that. And your question earlier about people coming up to me. After Spencer left, and then he wrote his book, I was his scribe, and we published his book called Listen to the Silence, Messages and Miracles from Spencer, who never spoke words, which is basically stories from his life, from
Hmm.
his perspective. So once that was published and once that started getting in people's hands, curiosity peaked. And yes, those people who didn't believe before skeptics. I love skeptics. Skepticism is healthy. Go, walk that path. Look for that path.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so little by little, more and more people would come to me and say, I want to know more about this. I want to know how this works. And more importantly, eventually I found my way to some podcasts where I specifically addressed the emotion of grief and healing grief. And so I started meeting people who were in the middle of grief. They had had a loss, a recent loss, a loss of a child, a loss of a parent, a loss of a spouse. And those people, their level of curiosity after reading the book, they want to know. They want to know how, and they believe that they can continue to connect with their loved ones. So I never advertised that that's part of my work, but heard the cosmic giggle. The cosmic giggle is like, oh, guess what? You're a bridge builder, and we're going to do this together. And it's really, really important. Again, it may be an angel. It may be an ancestor. It may be an alien. It may be an animal. All spiritual beings communicate with us all the time. So let's tell these stories together.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you're doing this and I love this show. And, I like sitting here thinking, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear the stories. And, yet if you're somebody like you and you're somebody like me in a very young age, I saw people in my basement, came home from school early. I saw them there. I could tell you to this day what they look like. And there was nobody in the house. And police came, everybody came. And for me, though, I knew there were people in the house. And there was only one way to get in this house. And my dad used to lock all the doors on the inside, so you couldn't get out. And then when the police came, there was nobody there. But I described these people. It was a mother, a father, and a young child. And, in the world that I grew up in, that sent me to therapy, that one. But I look back at that now. I know what I saw. Joe know what she saw. Perfect.
Yeah.
So in this show, you're going to be bringing stories. Spencer would have had a birthday.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the calling to tell these stories. And some of them are going to be very, very powerful. I don't know if you're going to be able to give us a sneak peek at anything here.
I can. I can. 7 years. And this didn't start with Spencer, actually. 1999, Christmas Day, my dad had a heart attack like only those in my family can have. It is fast and it is furious. It's a one and done. And Christmas Day, 1999, it was my first time to wail. It was my first time to seriously feel the loss of a soul soul connection. And immediately thereafter, he was still there. He was giving me messages. He was communicating with me almost nonstop through a variety of beautiful ways. The most important of all of those, the family members who were skeptical and who didn't want to hear and didn't want to believe what I believed, one by one, he would give me a message for them. And at first I was hesitant. It's like, oh, they already think I'm crazy, and should I? And it's like, no, there's no question. This message is not coming from me because I don't say these things. I don't have this relationship with this person. I don't say these things. So the first one was, I was in my mother's garage with my brother. We had just taken down the Christmas lights off the house. The house was huge, and Dad did all the work to put the Christmas lights on the house. So my brother and I took them down. Standing in the garage, trying to figure out how he kept them so neatly in line and not in tangles. And out of nowhere, my dad says, "Tell your brother that he is much better than he believes he is." And it just kept popping in. And my brother did need to hear that. And finally, I just stood up and I said, "Casey," I said, "I have a message for you from Dad. Take it or leave it, but he's going to keep telling me until I tell you. But he wants you to know that you are better than you believe you are." And that's the way it was. It was that simple. It was
Yeah.
the timing was perfect. The message to nurture and to support and help others, those are the kinds of messages that are worth sharing. So that was 1999. And
Wow.
then now Spencer's been gone 7 years. And every year on his birthday, he tells me exactly what to do to celebrate his birthday. So this year was one of the most fantastic in a while, and he wanted me all to himself. And it started with, well, I'll tell the story on the show, but it started with his use of the cosmic jukebox in the sky. He can play any song, anytime, in any order with the messages that I need to give me instructions, to give me messages, to make my heart tingle and sparkle, and to know for sure it's from him. So the very first thing he told me to play was David Lance piano music. There's no lyrics. So when he does this, you use the titles of the songs for the message. The very first song was Out of the Darkness.
Mm.
And I thought, oh man, I'm gonna get spanked right away, you know. So I'm like trying to suck it up. It's like his birthday. Don't be crying. That's not a good way to honor my birthday. That song played for a moment, and all of a sudden it switched. The song switched because I switched. I switched my energy, and I said, okay, you know, nope, not gonna be crying, not gonna be moping. That's not what he wants to do for his birthday. The song switched. Well, it switched to Wings of Altair. And when you read his book, you will learn about the star Altair and the song Wings to Altair. So that song is playing, and I'm journaling all of this because there's messages that come with. This is what you do when they give you music. You do the work to decode it, to figure out what exactly do they want to tell me with this. So immediately, open your wings, Madre, fly to the stars. Let's go celebrate. And then the very next song was Madre de la Tierra.
Oh.
And again, when you read the book, when you read his book, the story about how he gave me that song, and he said very clearly to me, Madre de la Tierra, you were my earth mother,
Mm.
and I will never stop honoring that.
Mm.
I'm no longer that. There's all these other things. There's all these other, probabilities and potentials. And
Mm.
so that's how soul family is. That's
Mm.
how soul lives really are, right?
They
So,
are. If
yeah.
and you know what you said though earlier is, boy, you have to be open. I mean, that one word from Joan told me a lot about her.
Yeah.
The story you
Oh,
just shared.
open mind and open heart.
Hmm.
If you just have an open mind, you are going to create so many blocks, so many locked doors, because we're also brilliant. We're
Mm.
also genius. We're also smart. We're also scientific. We're also analytical. That's not the answer. The answer is open the heart soul and connect the two. So make sure that the mind and the heart soul are connected, then see
Mm.
what happens. Yeah.
Are
So
you excited about this? Because I think about the stories you'll share. Some of the guests, you want to give us a little insider information as you're getting ready to do this show coming up?
I will. I will tell you one of the first stories from my own vault that I'm going to share is it's never been explained. I have shared it with many people. It is yet to be explained. So I'm still searching for the meaning of this because it's so unusual. There is a rare moth, and this moth is this burgundy color shaped like a pyramid. Most of the population of this moth is in North Carolina. I'm living on the east coast of Mexico. And a few days before Spencer's birthday in 2022, so late November, out of nowhere, this moth appears. So this moth hung out with me for 3 days. And I'll tell the entire story on my first or second episode. Hangs out with me, ends up laying her eggs on my hand. I videoed it. I have proof. So I'm not making this up. Laid the eggs on my hand. the incubation period is generally 8 to 11 days. Well, 13 days from the day she laid her eggs was Spencer's birthday. Every day for those 13 days, Spencer told me those eggs are going to hatch on my birthday. And you know what? They did. December 7th, 2022, 50 baby moths hatched in my palapa house. Okay, so that's pretty wild. That's pretty weird.
And it's pretty wonderful.
It is pretty
Right?
wonderful. I am still on a
Right?
mission. Yes, it is incredibly wonderful. 1 year later, I'm living on the west coast of Mexico. Same time next year, a moth shows up, same moth shows up, does the same thing, follows me for 3 days, lays her eggs on me. So, weird? Yes. Real life? Yes. I need help figuring out the meaning. And I know that others out there have just as many fantastic stories that everyone has said, that can't be real, shut that down, ridiculed. Not the right answer. So we're gonna ask for these stories. My first guest after you, because you're going to be my guest for the first 2 shows, and then my first guest after you is a good friend of mine that she is a psychic medium. And she did not ask for this gift. As a matter of fact, she has her own story about when and why she shut the gift down. I hear this all the time. People shut the gift down out of fear. You get in that place of fear, you get in that place of, fear of being ridiculed, fear of what's on the other side if you don't practice your spiritual hygiene. There can be some fearful things. Learn to protect yourself. It's called spiritual hygiene for a reason and responsibility, right? So, do you know what stories you're going to share?
Don't know, but you see, that's what I love about it, right? See, because maybe I'm going to get a message like the bird, like this beautiful cardinal picture that in the middle of this move, like this beautiful cardinal picture. It's like, where'd that come from? It was my mom's, like, right? And she had to tap into a little bit of what's going on with me, right? A little bit maybe of anxiety. My mama Doris was fearless. This is a woman that had her first child at 12, second child at 13. But she was an internal optimist. She lived in possibilities. She pulled herself up. It's amazing. And because of that, I know that that picture, she was saying, girl, you better pull yourself up. I know, right?
Yeah.
I have a few that I do want to talk about because they're you can't dispute them, just like your story.
No.
Can't dispute them.
We can't make this shit up.
No, you can't.
It's
You
the truth.
cannot. Just
Yeah.
like the circle. When
Yes.
Joan called me over, and she called me over, she didn't want Linda to go over. It's Linda's mother. Then she said, you got to come over here and see this thing. And she didn't even tell us what it was. And I'm telling you, I saw that and I could feel it. And then when I got out there and walked on it, and do you know it was gone in a couple of days?
Wow.
And the grass was like it was always there.
Right. Well, there's a reason why the stone circles are so powerful. So
Mhm.
you're talking sacred geometry, you're talking, we're going to talk about all of this. Portals, places to go in and cross. The veil is so thin now. And with what's going on in the world, we need all the help we can get. So let's befriend these spiritual beings and remember that everything about their essence is still alive and well and available.
And talking stories is so it's the way all of us evolved.
Yeah.
Stories, whether it was hieroglyphs or things in caves, it doesn't matter. It's stories.
And it never stops. You know how when you run across your baby book, we all love to see pictures of ourselves as babies. What nice old kid. So it's the same thing. The spirits on the other side, they're like, hey, come up, they're talking about me. They're remembering. And it is a remembering. And when we do the work to keep their memory alive, that's not hanging on. That's not holding them back. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
it's yeah, they want to celebrate. They want to continue to participate and stay connected because they're connected in the heart soul, and that never goes away.
No. Tell everybody when the show is, and let's just give a little information so we let everybody know this is going to be a regular mega event. Stories,
Yes,
questions, all of it.
yes,
Guests that you're going to have.
yes. First and third Wednesday, and it's going to be at noon Pacific time, 30-minute show. So we're gonna be brief. We're gonna tell the stories. We're going to share the stories, and you want better answers, ask better questions. So I'm hoping to be able to have a little dialogue because a lot of people are just like, it just was. I want to look under the hood of that because there is juicy stuff under the hood of these stories. And when those connections are opened back up in that way, everybody has those stories. So let's talk about them.
Let's do that. And when we do the show together, I'm going to tell you the aftermath of that circle, how it
Oh,
impacts me today, just like Spencer does.
yep.
Thank you so much. What's your website? How do people find out more about you?
My website is anywheremindbodysoul.com. And you can go read some of my stories, send me a message, connect with me. I offer everybody a complimentary mind, body, and soul session. Whatever you want me to listen to, I'm a professional listener. I will hear you.
Mm-hmm. For those of you out there, weird, real life stories with Gina Gayle Gray. And I'm not kidding. It is for real. We'll see y'all next time. Gina Gayle, awesome. We'll see you next time.